Hello everyone, welcome to day 24 of Cyber Vakeel campaign. Cyber Vakeel is an online awareness campaign launched by Cyber Jagrithi Foundation covering a multitude of themes on cyber crimes and aim to create cyber awareness on cyber laws in India. Cyber Jagrithi has taken this initiative on the occasion of Cyber Awareness Month, a 30-day cyber awareness campaign specially designed for legal professionals, including advocates, law professors, research scholars, budding lawyers, and students of law, and all the other students to give them an insight in the field of cyber crimes and how it can be effectively dealt. We are organizing workshop sessions, training activities, and many other activities by some of the top-notch professionals in the India. I'm Mahima from Mimosa. Mimosa is a social project working for prevention of interpersonal violence by empowering adolescents, early adults, along with their parents and teachers. Our project is supported by Rubaru Pravah Youth Collective, Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor US Department of State. Today, we have Dr. G. Padmaja along with us to give us insight into our today's topic, mental health in online world and lifestyle management with increased screen time. Dr. G. Padmaja is head of Center for Health Psychology and Deputy Dean, Students Welfare at University of Hyderabad. Ma'am has been in teaching profession for more than 25 years. She has published more than 34 papers in several fields of psychology and co-edited the book Trauma and Pain: Psychosocial Perspectives. Ma'am has completed 2 research projects as co-investigator, and Ma'am is currently working for the project Interest Cream on Women, Aging and Health, a framework for action and policy formations. Her areas of interest include health psychology, counseling, psycho-oncology, geriatric health, health of women. She has written more than 10 chapters for BA, MA, diploma courses, including regular and distance courses in psychology, and edited up to 4 textbooks on social psychology, health psychology, and personality theories for Telugu Academy. She is member Board of Studies, Department of Psychology, Usmania University, member Board of Studies, Clinical Psychology, Sri Ramachandra Medical College and Research Institute, member Institutional Ethical Committee and Internal Complaints Committee, Global Hospitals Hyderabad, and founding member and treasurer of Association of Health Psychologists. In addition to being part of teaching and academic programs, ma'am has actively been working as counselor at Center for Health Psychology, University of Hyderabad, counseling programs and awareness programs through media, print and electronic media. She has been very famous as columnist in Enadu from 2012 or 2002 onwards. Counseling and awareness programs have been done by ma'am from ETV2 Saki program that we all know for more than 8 years. She is a resource person for helplines and panel discussions in several channels. And ma'am has been always invited to several lectures, soft skills, resource development programs in more than 25 organizations and several professional training and educational institutions. She is a reviewer for more than 5 reputed journals, and she has been awarded Certificate of Appreciation from Commissioner of College Education AP. Ma'am is also given a second Best Paper Award for Conference, Second Indian Cancer Congress in November 2017, presented by co-authors for the paper titled Body Image Concerns as Predictors of Psychosocial Problems in Cancer Patients. We are so glad to have you here, ma'am, as a guest speaker today. I request you to take over the session, ma'am.
Thank you, Mahima, for that elaborate introduction.
It wasn't elaborate, ma'am, to talk about you. We have lots and lots of, we need a lot of time actually.
That's, nice to hear that. Mahima has been my student. That's the first qualification that I have to be here. And several of
Thank you so much, ma'am.
the young minds working in this area have been my students as well. And I'm glad that I'm a part of this program where such young people and the future of the society, these are the hope of the society, these are the torchbearers of the future. These are the people who are going to create something which we look forward to. Hence, once I have been invited, it was with a pleasure. I have agreed. um, Not just because I'm from a psychology background, I'm a counseling psychologist and all those things, not just because of that, because I also think in the same lines as these young minds do, and I'm glad to see these people in action. So, with that note of appreciation, May I start sharing? I just have a brief, small PowerPoint. If permitted, I would like to share.
Please continue, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah, I hope you are able to see my screen. I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I was asked to talk about mental health in online world, the lifestyle management with increased screen time. Yes, online world and mental health. Well, most of us are kind of living in a virtual world now. It's our world is limited to our four walls in or our home or our room or the place that we are in, and we are within these four walls, and the whole world is now at our fingertips. You click the mouse and you are able to connect to someone. So this online world is our world now. Currently, in this pandemic situation, an unprecedented kind of situation which we would have never anticipated, in this crisis time, in this testing time, in this special time, in this, a new normal is emerging, and that new normal is emerging. One of the main aspects of our getting used to the new normal is through the online world. So online world is a very important word to me. And in, yes, lifestyle management, several changes had to be made in terms of our own lives, each of us, irrespective of the age. It's not just youngsters like you, but also middle-aged people or older people, older generations, including the small children. Everyone had to make these adaptations to the new normal through lifestyle management, and then increased screen time when we are in the online world, and that's one way of connecting with the outer world, larger world. Yes, screen time has increased. During this increased screen time, what is it that we are doing, what is it that we can do, what is it that we need not to, how are we going to protect our mental health in all these aspects? The first word which is given to me in the topic is what is the most important in all these. So, well, as I said, this is an unprecedented time. There is social isolation. I mean to say, I'm sorry, I've used the word social isolation. It is physical isolation. There is physical distancing. There has been lockdown that we have all experienced due to COVID-19, and this threat due to COVID-19 has affected almost every individual across the world in different ways. It's not, I don't think there is any one particular individual who has been an exception to the effect of COVID-19. It's not that COVID-19 has affected him or her directly, but COVID-19 has spread its effects in several ways. The fear due to COVID-19, the anticipation of COVID-19 hitting each person, the coronavirus hitting each person. So this has affected every individual in many ways. Any normal person like you and me, we had to face extraordinary situations, and there were unique reactions. No two individuals are the same, no two individuals react the same way to the same situation. Several millions and more of individuals have been affected in one way or the other, and each may have his or her unique reaction to this particular unprecedented situation. It's changed it's changed our lives drastically. The order of our lives is topsy turvy. It went topsy turvy. There has been an imbalance for many of us, for most of us for that matter. The normal routine has been affected, the normal work has been affected, the normal household chores have been affected, your normal food patterns have been affected. For someone who is at home cooking in order to eat for self, that has affected. Going out and getting groceries has been a problem in every possible way. Going to schools, which was very normal, all these years we have been asking for time, and so many of us have complained there's no time, irrespective of again the age group. Neither I wouldn't say only young have complained or old have complained. Each of us has had an occasion to complain, where is the time? I don't have time. If only I had time. Now you have time. Now there is abundance of time. Now we are wondering why we have this time with us. Why not the normal routine which we had earlier? what we have been craving for, when it actually came to us in a way which we didn't expect, we didn't anticipate, we didn't hope, we didn't want. Under such circumstances, now time itself has become a big problem for people. How to manage this time, how to distribute the time, that is where we are going to talk about certain issues today. And within a blink of our eye, we were not prepared for it, we were not never anticipated it. And today we are moving out of our secure, we are moving out of our secure space home slowly. All these while we felt safe being in the four walls in spite of several complaints that we have had. We have been feeling secure because okay, we are at home. At least we can protect ourselves. Now, how long can we stay at home? Slowly, the rules and regulations with respect to our physical distancing in terms of isolation, social isolation, being completely at home, social isolation, yes, in terms of being completely at home, all these are slowly being relaxed. But what about the shadow which moves along with us? That lingering fear, that lingering uncertainty. Sometimes this shadow looms large. It goes ahead of us rather than being behind us. We carry it with us, behind us, but sometimes it may go ahead of us. It's the fear. It is this anxiety that we carry with us, which may loom large. Now, coming to the mental health aspect of it, as an academician, let me first start about it a little more technically. WHO says that mental health is a state of well-being in which individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. So it's not just the self, but also the society which matters. So he's um, divided this into it categorized it into three parts. One is the emotional well-being, dealing with the emotions of life, and the psychological well-being as well as social well-being. When Keyes talks about emotional well-being, he talks about the happiness, the interest in life, the satisfaction that we hold about our life. And then the psychological well-being is liking most of your own self, your own personality, being good at managing the responsibilities of your daily life and carrying on with your daily chores without any associated problems. Have not many associated problems, or being able to deal with the problems, having good relationships with the others, and being satisfied with your own life. Now, coming to the social well being, there is this positive functioning and social contribution that you got to make, you do make, and social integration, social actualization, that is believing the society is becoming a better place for all people. It's not that you are against the society, you are fed up with the society, frustrated with the society. It's not like that. You actually see that there is more which is taking place and things are going for better, moving for better. Social coherence, where you believe that the way society works makes sense to the people and you. So these three are interrelated concepts and overlapping concepts in certain ways as well. But these are the broad categorizations. So coming to our own well-being, and which is an integral part of our mental health, all these three play significant role. Coming back to the COVID 19 crisis, what is the psychosocial impact that we have been seeing? As we said, in this unprecedented time, it's not one person who is in turmoil. Each life, irrespective of the age, including the newborns, the parents are in constant fear of an imminent danger. A person who is in the fag end of the life is also worried of an imminent danger. Everyone is in a turmoil. Age does not matter. There is a turmoil. It's just that they may be able to express it or not express it. Everyone is vulnerable. Who is not vulnerable? Some may be more vulnerable because of the conditions, physical and psychological conditions that they have. But each one is vulnerable in some way or the other. And in case they have a mental health history, they are at a higher risk. If they have a comorbid condition, then there may be a risk. Today we have increased social isolation. Even if you are talking to someone, you are worried, you are scared. It's like, am I going to acquire something by talking to this person, to him or her? I hope they are all right. It's with a question mark and a lingering fear. Like we talk to anyone and everyone. There is an increased stress, and there are reductions that we very clearly see in critical resources. Coming to the studenthood, coming to the students, the libraries, the study spaces, all these are they may be available, they may not be available. Online, they may be available. But then you may be satisfied with it, you may not be satisfied with it. And if you actually go to a library as well, probably you are worried as to what is going to happen. Like I told you, the lingering fear. And then what about the common aspects that we just took for granted all these years? So long, we have just taken them for granted. We have friends, we have professors, we have teachers, we have the family members, we have relatives, we have neighbors. How long has it been that you actually with an enthusiasm or energy or happily you went to somebody's house just like that, and then somebody else, a group of friends or a group of people have come to your house, or you have been a group of people who have visited somebody else's house? Don't you think, yes, you may have visited, but then when you have visited, has your mind been really in a pleasant state? Well, computers, they have brought the world to us. But what about the internet and speed? What about the availability? What about the data speed? What about the access? What about the power? There is always an uncertainty regarding the access. Not because only specific conditions are prevailing. Sometimes, even your own system or your mobile phone for that matter, where you have access to the whole world right now, thanks to certain features that we have right now. Everything, there is an uncertainty. There is a fear. What if this doesn't work? However, things are not bad. I have been talking to you about several problems, but over the past so many months, we are already in October 2020, and we have been seeing this for several months from now. However, we are all the adversities that we have faced have taught us certain lessons, and we are all emerging thanks to the medical field and advancement and the research which is going on. In addition to that, there are several things that we are able to come up with in order to protect ourselves. Even if there is a health problem, for example, there is a telehealth facility which is available to you. You don't actually need always the physical movement from a place to go to the other. Doctors have come up very quickly. Medical field has come up very quickly. The frontline service providers have all been helping us immensely, and we are learning. We have learned in certain ways, and we are still learning to adjust, to adapt, to go along with this new normal. Well, how we are all coped up with this new normal situation, and how we are moving ahead, and how we are trying to bring back the healthy aspects of our functioning and the well-being into our lives, and looking at positivity and hope in our lives, is each individually determined. No two people, once again, see the same negativity, but no two people also remain there. Some of them move ahead very fast, some of them move a little slow, and some of them never even attempt to move. So, that once again, that's why the three dots as a continuation. Each of you, if I talk to you, you may come up with your own story of how you have tried to cope with the new reality, with the new normal. Now let's go to a very important group. I won't say that the other groups, other age groups are not impacted, but I'm sure those who watch and those who can be helped at large, we may have to start with the younger age groups, the children and the adolescents. When it comes to children, there have been several webinars which have been conducted, and I have spoken on several forums and several webinars, um, how to deal with children and how to help them, and etc. So now let's talk about adolescence as well. We all know that adolescence is a specific age which has certain important aspects associated with it. And coming to talking about adolescent feeling unique or special about himself or herself, there may also be a possibility of preoccupation with self, especially in these testing times. In the contemporary time, there may be a preoccupation which the adolescent may not be able to share with the others. There may be this lingering sense of insecurity which not only the older adults have, adolescent who may not be ready. Those who express, those who share, those who talk, those who communicate is a different question altogether. But there are adolescents who may not be ready to talk, they may not be ready to share. So, among such people, the sense of insecurity might be a big hurdle in their movement ahead. And in the process, what happens is certain risk taking behaviors may be followed in terms of their lifestyle, like, for example, their eat and sleep patterns. Some people may resort to certain risk taking behavior, like I will talk about it briefly in terms of feeling invincible. Some of them, nobody can do anything to me, nothing is going to happen to me, and may take risks by not maintaining personal hygiene, social distancing. Some parents call me. I, being a counseling psychologist, I've been a columnist in a newspaper, a vernacular newspaper for years, for decades for that matter. I have been writing over there, and I have been talking on several channels, live and recorded programs. And I am into some help by phone and otherwise. People keep calling me, people keep writing to me, mails and phones. Every day I keep getting certain phone calls. Some of the phone calls some of these cases, very quickly I'll try to share with you. So, one of the parent tells me, my son is about 22, madam, and he has always been going to the college and all by bike. He goes to the college by bike. And then when he goes out, he uses all those helmet and all, because we don't permit him to go without that. We are bothered about his safety. Now we don't know what happened, and he goes all around with friends and all. That is very common for any young person. That's fine. That's common, emerging adult. So he goes around with friends, and we never objected. But now, in these crisis times, in spite of, we have an old lady at home who is his grandmother, and I and my husband we have certain chronic health conditions, and he doesn't listen to us, and he goes around on the bike. Earlier, he at least used to wear helmet. Now he doesn't wear a helmet. He doesn't have a mask. He says, "Youth, are you mad? Are you not reading? Youth will not be affected. I have the capacity to withstand." And he just goes out. And for long hours, they go, three of them ride on the bike, four of them ride on the bike, is what a mother says. And there was one more parent who had called me, and he said, "Madam, going for parties and all, we cannot stop our young children. The boy is studying engineering and he has friends." And then they used to have, typically like any young student, when there is a birthday or when there is an occasion to celebrate, they celebrate. Earlier, going here and there, that going here and there is interpreted differently by different people. So now, in the current situation, going somewhere to certain places is risky. So he says on weekends, the friends plan out and they go to some suburban resorts and all, and then they just want to have fun over there. They just want to have they just want to have partying over there. And in the process, the risk that both the children are putting themselves into, and the youngsters are putting themselves into, and they are pushing their older adults at home, is something which cannot be stopped. So again, here the logic is, I am young, nothing is going to happen to me. On the other hand, there may be the other extreme. These are the people who are extremely withdrawn. They are afraid of leaving home. In a way, to a certain, see, in both the cases, I'm not saying that either that is too bad or this is too bad, but there is always an optimal limit. There are always boundaries to your behavior. This is precisely what I'm talking about. They're afraid of leaving home, and they're worried about their health as well as other family members. They're overreactive to it. They're anxious about it. They worry a lot. So there are two extremes. On one side, There are some people who feel invincible and just doesn't care and take risks. And on the other side, because you should not take risks, even the minimum chores that they have to perform, or the minimum whatever, if you have to go out and get something, they wouldn't want to do it, and they may refrain themselves to a room or the four walls within which there was a young girl who was complained to refrain herself to her own room, and except for opening the door a little to take the food plate inside, even that with difficulty for days together, her parents had to convince that that they are serving her hot steaming food. There are possibilities of extremes. However, let's not overgeneralize. It's not that every adolescent is going through it. I'm only talking about young adults and adolescents who show these patterns. They may lose regular contact with friends, be it the high school or plus two or colleges or universities. All are closed. That online teaching is the new normal. There may be boredom, there may be loneliness, there may be sadness and aggression and irritability. Very often I'm getting phone calls and mails regarding this. People are complaining to me about this. That the child who has been quite patient, who was quite normal, who was quite adjustive and adaptive with family and friends, now is fighting with everyone. Irritability towards siblings, fighting, conflicts, even with there is a generation gap which suddenly emerged between the three generations who stay in the same house. And another way is resorting to drug or alcohol abuse, starting with using it, going to the abuse aspect. Uncertainty about the examinations, fear about the career, what is going to happen. As it is, they are stressed up, and all these increase the stress. And if there are existent mental health conditions, mental health conditions, suppose they are prone to anxiety, or they are already depressed, or any other mental health mild or severe mental health condition has been there, then it is particularly difficult for such people who already have a mental health condition. Now, as a resort, many of the people have been using this tiny box in front of us, either tiny or large, or this little thing which helps us in many ways. It's like, the whole world is brought into your fist with the help of this. So, this mobile phone, either through mobile or through the box that you have in front of you, your laptop or system which is there in front of you, or your tab or whatever, whatever gadget you use in order to access internet. Well, internet has become very important to the school children, to the college going students, to people who are working, people who are not working outside, people who are self-employed, people who are not employed somewhere but need some kind of, they need to have a pastime. Whatever it is, internet is coming handy to me. However, is this internet a source of stress, or is it a source of solace? A big question. Why are we talking about screen time when internet is helpful so much, ma'am? Why should we talk about uh, the problems? I will tell you about certain problems which I have read about, and I acknowledge the sources, online sources, from where I have picked up some of these points. For example, I won't go into the details. Let's just talk about the screen time and our eyes. When you have a poorly adjusted computer screen, and when you have a suboptimum ambient lighting, when the lighting is not proper, and when the adjustment is not proper, then you may be subjected to eye strain, which can have lasting effects. You know what? The ophthalmologists apparently recommend that you take a break from screen reading every 20 minutes. You read something, move away from it for some time, let your eyes rest, then you come back if you have to. And then also have the adjustment of room lighting so that you avoid glare and reflections. Let me ask you again, being a teacher and also being a lifetime student, obviously all of us are lifetime students, is it only because you have to study something that you look at the screen? when your class is over, when our classes are over, and when we have time for ourselves, what do we leave the screen and go? You may leave the screen in front of your desktop or your laptop, but there is this screen, your mobile screen, which you are glued to. Many of us are glued to. How much screen time? Well, that's a question that I have to get an answer to from the other side. The radical change in the current lifestyle. Again, coming back to the case studies which have been shared with me, the many people who keep calling me and talking to me, and the questions that I keep getting from parents and youngsters, irrespective of their age group, very often what I am told is that this current situation has not only brought people together, but it also made people far off psychologically. You stay under the same roof in the same house. Earlier, whatever relationships that you have had, the amicable lifestyle and relationships that you have had, now there is a strained relationship. One mother tells me, "Ma'am, I'm a working mother. I have to work online to a large part of my day, and I have to that doesn't stop me from cooking, that doesn't stop me from doing my daily chores, and I don't have any house help now. I have to do things alone, and I have two children who keep sleeping till 10 o'clock, and in case they have a class, then they wake up at that time and again go back to sleep after their class. They quickly get set and sit in front of this screen. And there's this husband of mine who is also working from home. Anyone else in the family, if they have to do some household chore, they say that they have a class or they have a work to do, that they have to work online. And what about me? Earlier, there was a systematic lifestyle. We used to finish the chores early in the morning, and we all used to leave home. And after coming back home, we had division of responsibilities. But now, nobody is coming forward for the responsibility. No one wakes up at a particular time. On a Sunday, you will see my children and my husband sleeping till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, while I'm struggling in like any other day in the kitchen or in the wash area to clean the vessels and to wash the clothes. Why should I suffer when everyone is facing the whole same thing? Was one mother's agony. There was one boy who tells, a young boy, a 17-year-old boy who tells me, "Ma'am, what is this? Having to stay at home is so bad. My mother constantly tells me, even if I look at my mobile phone for a little time, she tells me, you're wasting your time, you're not studying, you're not doing that, you're not doing this." She nags me. And my father starts a lecture about how he used to behave when he was a young student. And he tells how much he wants me to come up in life because he wasn't able to, he had no one to support and all. And "Ma'am, I'm getting bored at home. I don't want to be at home." There is a young employee who says, "Ma'am, sitting at home and working like this is giving me nightmares. I am in touch with everyone, but I cannot work like this. It's like, I'm not used to this. I crave to go out and go back to my office and work." There are several repercussions. There are several repercussions. People have come together, but people are also moving far off. Relationships which could have been strengthened are also loosening in some cases. People are feeling lonely in spite of having people around. There is anxiety, and there may even be depression in some cases. So there's a strange term which I have come across of late. There's what is called this panicagogy, which is a combination of you know panic and pedagogy. A strange term which has been used. Anyway, I think I have to quickly move ahead, giving respect to the time as well. So, adolescence, like I said, there are certain emotional and behavioral changes which we see among young adolescents. So, what can be done if you are older to them, and if you have an adolescent at home, or if you have a sibling, or if you have someone who is an adolescent at home, or who is very close to you? It may be a sibling of yours, or it may be a cousin of yours, it may be a child of yours, it may be someone who is around, a friend of yours. So if you can, if you think you are able to cope with it, how you can help, how as a family member you can help, how as a friend you can help, how as a sibling you can help, how as a parent you can help. Sometimes the changes, the emotional and behavioral changes which I have mentioned, may be quite subtle. They may not be glaringly visible. Remember, an adolescent would want to keep things to himself or herself. You know, that feeling of uniqueness and the sense of identity that the I, which looms large. What can be done? Try to communicate. First and foremost, try to communicate. In any capacity that I have talked about, at least as a responsible person in the society, try to communicate with them. Try to talk. Talk where you can go to their level of thinking and talk. Talk to them as them. Talk to them as you understand them as them. Empathy. This is what we use in our psychological terminology. Empathize, try to empathize with them, try to stand in their shoes and try to understand them. That does not mean if a person is emotional, you also get emotional and get angry like him or her. Understand the anger. That is where I'm talking about empathy. Understand their emotion, understand their feeling, understand their experiences, understand their behavior. Try to understand by standing in their shoes, by understanding them as they are, without judgments, without imposing any conditions upon them. Listen to them first. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Don't just go around saying, yeah, it's so common to everyone. What's so special with you? No. Acknowledge that they are passing through a difficult time. If you can, if you have the capacity to clarify the doubts, try to clarify. If you don't have, try to seek some help so that you get a support to clarify their doubts. Reassure, reassure that you are understanding, that you will be able to understand, that they can share because you care. Show that you are with them to the best that you can and generate a hope. Talk to them about the new normal. Talk to them how things can improve. Talk to them how they can be those change agents. Just as the youngsters over here have come forward as change agents, talk to them. Each individual can be a change agent, irrespective of the age. Irrespective of the age. Mark my words, please. Each individual can be a change agent provided he or she wants to, and provided he realizes or she realizes that, yes, I can. Generate a hope if you can. If you are hopeful, if you appear optimistic, you can generate a hope in them. Provide emotional support in resolving issues, especially between the parents and adolescents. If any parents are watching this program, yes, the adolescents have to understand that excessive use of mobile and other devices can result in behavioral addiction. We talk about this addiction to technology in many ways. Internet is one of those sources, and let me tell you, internet gaming, for example, has been a cause of concern across the world. While it is true with with any age group, adolescents and younger age groups have been more vulnerable, to the extent that it has even cost the lives of some people. We are all aware of this Blue Whale and other games. Negotiate with adolescents if you can. It's if you say don't use gadget, it is not possible. First and foremost, that's a reality. Two, the more you say don't use gadgets, the more they're attracted to it. Just come to an understanding as to how much time can be spent both by you who is trying to help them and by them, the child, the adolescent, or the youth, the use of, depending upon that, I mean whatever their age group is, how much they can have, the limits and boundaries to the usage of gadgets. What is the screen time? What is the relaxing, if they feel it is relaxing, what is that relaxation time? How much time? Discuss the inclusion of healthy non-gadget activities. Why does anyone resort to a gadget, a screen time, an internet game more often? Screen time in order to listen to such webinars or have your classes or share certain things is a different matter. I'm not talking about that. What about the games and certain sites which are objectionable and which may not help people in many ways, and which only push them into certain problems, unforeseen, unanticipated, otherwise, and which spread, you know, like this is a different kind of spreading from one to the other, especially in the peer groups. This change happens, which does not help them in any way in progressing in any possible way, psychologically, socially, or intellectually, anyway, in any possible way. So, what about non gadget activities? What can replace this gadget activity? What can replace this weakness for either internet gaming or any social media where blank chats, I mean, just talking out there in the air and gossiping and certain unanticipated and unacceptable chats and talks go on in which may not benefit the individual, which pushes down the individual, and those that they think will be relaxing will not be relaxing, on the other hand add anxiety, like certain games. They say that they play the game for relaxation. On the other hand, the game does not induce relaxation, it induces more anxiety because they're constantly thinking there is a target, I have to reach the target, and if you don't reach that target, they are anxious, they are worried, they feel that they have not been able to achieve, and their worthlessness comes looms large, their sense of worthlessness, and they feel hopeless that yes, while all so many people could achieve it, I'm not able to achieve it. What am I good for? Several things. So what can replace that, that movement of the mind or their thinking, their cognition towards something which they think is relaxing? What can control? Why not something which is really relaxing both physically and psychologically? What about the games? What about the other activities which a group of peers can plan together? This is where I'm talking to you adolescents who are watching this program, to you youth who are watching this program, this webinar. Why not you be a part of that change process? Why not use the same podium which is pushing them down into the depths of isolation, withdrawal, feelings of helplessness, hopelessness, worthlessness, into distress, into sometimes even depression, into aggression, into fights, into strained interpersonal relations, into all these which do not help them in any possible way? Why don't you be a change agent who can help with the formation of a peer group which can come up with such healthy activities wherein you can come together with something unique? It need not be a worldwide contribution that you have to do. It can be an achievement to you. It can be something which is satisfactory to you. It can be a good cognitive distraction for these people who are already into addiction to certain internet gadgets and into certain gadgets and into internet time, which may not be helpful to them, which may not be which may be detrimental to their development. And from the parents and the family members, generosity, support, tolerance, grace in accepting these people. Each human being has weakness. Do you only highlight their weaknesses, or do you help them in understanding their strengths? Now I will talk about how each individual can think from his or her own point of view, how we can help our own selves. Keep yourself informed. Follow trusted news channels. Don't just go away, don't just go around believing every rumor. And just as I have been mentioning, this small instrument can be very helpful to you in gathering information which is trustworthy, but this can also be detrimental in terms of information, in terms of gossip and news which are spread, which go viral, which have no basis, which are not trustworthy. So please be cognizant of this fact that news need not always be trustworthy. You have to verify the source. You have to verify the authenticity of the source. So follow trusted news channels and latest news from something like World Health Organization, and social media with such from which spread messages from such authentic sources with proper proof to you. And news feeds can always need not always be true with any in very very in with any unauthentic source, go for authentic source. And very importantly, just as the mother who I have told you has complained, have a routine for your own sake first, then for the sake of your family members or your friends. Have a routine which has to be new now, which has to be rebuilt by you, restructured by you. Get up and go to bed at the proper time, at the same time, at a similar time, come what may. Wake up at the same time, sleep at the same time. That will be the first step of your discipline, self discipline, which will not push you into isolation. A new routine which you are going to follow is going to boost up your energies and regularize your routines so that you gain your confidence. Keep up your personal hygiene. Eat healthy meals at regular times. You wake up at 1 o'clock in the 1 p.m. is the waking up time. Having breakfast at 3 o'clock, breakfast at 3 o'clock. And having lunch at 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. Then when do you have dinner? The youngsters are hungry all through the night. So snacking without any restrictions upon what they eat, how much they eat. And that is the time when, since everybody else will be sleeping, they get glued to the internet, either games or certain sites. How much of these is really going to help you is a big question. So, exercise regularly, it rejuvenates your energy, it reboosts your energy, it strengthens you psychologically. Exercise has multiple benefits, not just physical. It has physical as well as psychological benefits to you. Allocate time for resting also along with your working. You need rest too. Your sleep hours, your biological clock, which is adjusted to a particular schedule and routine, will remind you. And if you go on abusing it, then it will become rebellious. It can also become rebellious. That is where we fall sick. Make time for doing things that you enjoy. Instead of complaining, where am I going? Instead of, I'm only referring to home. What are you doing? Mama, do this for me. Papa, do this for me. Or I have nothing to do. I don't have anything to do. My world has become so unreal. Yes, all these are true. Why not plan something in order to make it real? What can you do within your limitations? Make time for things that you have enjoyed. You may have forgotten certain things. Your childhood, for example, you may have wanted to learn music. Online sources are available. You may have wanted to paint. Online resources are available. You may have wanted to draw, sketch. Online resources are available. You may have wanted to write poetry. Online resources are available. You may have wanted to be a part of, good gardening and all. Online resources are available, and you can go to the nearest garden and you can help, or to the nearest place where you can help with the gardening while taking all precautions. Whatever you wanted to do earlier. Number two, your parents and you may have only talked about routine matters, mundane matters, and only about studies or only about work or only about certain things. Now, talk more to your parents and your grandparents. Give a chance to them to share their childhood memories, It may be boring to you initially, but you will come across certain things which will be very interesting to you. You may not be aware of certain games that we have played when we were young. You may not be aware of, at all about certain outdoor games that we people have played. Get to know about them. Get to know about them. Sit together and play board games, for example. How much togetherness can it bring within the family instead of conflicts? Plan how to enjoy your friends. You all come up with certain activities together in your own way, from individually. These are some of what some of the students have given me. Some of the people who I have talked to, who have been young students, who have been in the field of in the process of helping each other. They have come up with all these solutions. They are not mine entirely. Some of them have been in addition to whatever I have within my mind. And nobody can give you a solution to your problem. You alone can create the solution for yourself. Social contact is important, yes, but now when you cannot go and meet them often, What about this same screen time to talk to far off relatives, cousins, getting in touch with them again, along with your family or along with your friends? Alcohol and drug use. Kindly avoid using it as a way of dealing with fear, anxiety, boredom, social isolation. When you are trying to forget things by using alcohol or drugs, that is temporary. What is more permanent is being able to combat with that feeling of isolation or loneliness and creating a space for yourself so that you have social interactions being in the place that you are. And the screen time, how much are you spending in front of your screen every day, is something very important. And make sure, I have already told you about the statistics and what ophthalmologists say. Make sure that you take regular breaks from your on screen activities. Video games have become the new order of the day, irrespective of the age. They may be a way to relax, but it can be highly addictive as well. You can get habituated to it initially, then it may become addictive. So much so that if you cannot do play it, you will be angry with self, with others, and several problems, your interpersonal relationship problems and your own psychological problems, maybe certain psychological problems may surface, which may not actually be there with you otherwise. And much more time than usual when you are at home for long periods may create a distance in spite of, like I said, so near yet so far. You're all together, but you are engrossed in your own world. It's like you plunge into your own world, which you don't allow others into. And the moment someone tries to touch, you are angry with them, irritated with them, aggression, fights, conflicts, so near yet so far, between people, between friends. Social media, yes, this can be useful to be positive as well. You can promote positive and hopeful stories, some authentic stories. While internet can be while social media is criticized for a lot of things, let me also remind you that social media can be useful in many ways. Several success stories have been shared on social media which have been inspiring, which have motivated several people. Even people who have gone into, there was a story which was running some time back where an 80 plus lady who had been affected, the COVID-19, during COVID-19 peak time, when she was corona affected, she not only recovered from there, but she stood as an example to several others. She would, in the same hospital that she has been admitted to, she was called, she was invited to come and talk to the patients, of course, taking necessary precautions. And she used to stand as a role model to the others. And this went viral on social media and it helped many others. When an 80 plus lady with her stamina, with her mental, psychological stamina, when she could come out of it, emerge, while of course the medical help will be there, in addition to that, the psychological strength. If you see any misinformation, if you see any debilitating factors which might pull down people, push down people, then try to correct it. Try to help others by not trusting it. Help others if you can. Young people, especially, if you are able to, please offer support to people in your community. It's not just the screen time, it's not just on screen that you're going to help them physically. Let's say you're staying in a complex, or you're staying in houses close by, when you're staying in a portion, maybe your neighborhood, anyone in your neighborhood who is alone, who does not have anybody to support, or who has a condition where he or she cannot go out, who needs help, try to help as much as you can, if you can, within your limitations, with safety measures. Help them with food if you can, bringing them or helping them with their cooking or whatever. If you're going out for shopping, just find out if you can help them as well. You don't have to go do things for them particularly. When you do things, still you can be inclusive. You can include them. Please understand that there are people who are vulnerable in terms of their comorbidities and chronic illnesses. Maybe you can be of some help to them. Try to understand. Now, let's talk about supporting yourself. Please understand that self support is very important. Normalize. It's indeed hard for everyone, it's not just for me. Why me? Why me? Why me? Why not me when everyone else is facing through a turmoil? Affirm your strengths and your supports and the support that your strengths can give you in times of crisis. Is this the first time that you have ever faced, even if you are young? Is this the first time that you have ever faced a crisis in your life? Haven't there been any crisis at all in your life? Haven't there been tough times in your life? Recall those times which, using your own inner strength, you have been able to come out of. Identify the critical supports instead of engrossing in this screen time to pass my time. What else can I do? Who can support me? How can my friends support me? How can my family members support me? How can I use that support? What are the other resources which can help me, which I can utilize? What are the activities which I can plan? Who are the people that I can reach out to? How can I move away from this which is attracting me towards it again and again? How can I come out of that attraction? How can I combat with that attraction? How can I gain a strength over myself and command over myself and control over myself? Stay connected. You may be physically distant from the support system, but stay connected. How do you reduce distraction? Kindly answer to yourselves these questions. What's your screen time each day? There are people who tell me about 19 to 20 hours as well. And okay, screen time. Ma'am, we have classes. Yes, we have classes. Ma'am, we have to work for our assignments. Yes, you have to work. Other than that, for this, how much time? What about your classes time? What about your working for your assignments or whatever time? What about your sending mails or whatever time? What about your social contacts time? Whatever your other time. In addition to all these, there is some other time also, which is included in these 18, 19, or 20 hours for that matter. Or I don't know if there are people who even say 24. How do you organize your day, your routine, and your screen routine? How are you taking the breaks in between? How do you organize your screen time? How do you organize your life otherwise? Where is your lifestyle? What have you been doing all these days for years together? And suddenly, what are you trying to? Does relaxation mean causing harm to yourself? Ask yourself. There is what is called this organization of self, which matters a lot. Organization of your screen time, organization of your activities time, organization of your daily chores, organization of your eat sleep time, organization of your exercise time, organization of your routines, organization of your social time, organization of your time me time. So there is a physical organization, there is a mental organization, and there is what is called this electronic organization. Use your organizational skills. It's not that we haven't used them. All through these days prior to the COVID-19 crisis, wasn't it our organizational skills which have waded us through several troubles which we might have otherwise landed? Use your organizational skills. In the absence of minimizing distractions, definitely, especially if you are students, you will spend an inordinate amount of time saying that you are doing work. But actually, I'm sure this is an experience for many. It's there, it's like you're doing work, but actually, very little is done. Every subsequent task, let me cite some studies over here. I don't have the exact citations as of now, and I acknowledge the internet resources which have given me a presence of, a glimpse into these. Every subsequent task has less attention than the preceding task. What do? When you say, I am studying, you just go, 5 minutes, you study something. Oh my God, this is going beyond my head. So you go into some site, other site, which can be some distraction to you, some relaxation to you. It can be a game, it can be some gossip, it can be a site, some other site which may attract you. Then, when you come back, now you read. Every subsequent task has less attention than the preceding task. Also, see the next one. It takes us 23 minutes to re immerse into an activity after being disrupted. And who is causing the disruption? Is somebody else coming and causing the disruption? Or are we causing the disruptions to ourselves? Saying that, no, I am working. And are you really working? Or are you moving into several all those minimized things which occupy your, the toolbar? Figure out how to reduce these internal distractions as you do with the external distractions. Yes, external distractions may be there. Your friend may call, or somebody else may come, or your family expects you to do certain chores. Yes, there may be external distractions, but what with the internal distractions? You may have to handle both, and your organizational skills help you. Have a procedure. If you come to know that someone is showing severe distress or expresses a desire to hurt himself or herself or someone else, you have to, especially when you are helping others, have a referral ready. Get to know who you can reach out to in case of some harm to the individual. So I will conclude my presentation with a small study, a results of a small study which has been done in Bangladesh during COVID-19, and they aim to identify the determinants of depression and anxiety during this particular time. And about 476 university students have participated in this cross-sectional web-based survey, and the results have shown that students were experiencing heightened depression and anxiety, and about 15% of the students had moderately severe depression, whereas 18.1% have been having anxiety. And of course, that older students are supposed to have greater depression, and the recommendations say that government and universities could work together in addition to the family support. And I have been talking all this while about the self support, and I also talked about the family support. Now, the study says that the institutions as well as the government can help them in this. So I think that ends my presentation. And if time permits, I think I have crossed my time already. And if time permits, then I would a few questions if the organizers would want me to. Thank you.
It was it was very thought provoking, very interesting, and so insightful. Like always, ma'am. We have people reporting the same from audience. Also, they've contacted us with several questions. Also, but most of the questions you already answered while you're speaking, ma'am. There is one person who was asking us this question, which says, she, as you're saying, she's trying to manage her time, she's trying to stay away from screen, and she's trying to schedule her day, but she's having this feeling of missing out on people and missing out on information as she's away from her college and she's working from home. I mean, for the same college. So
Yeah,
what she asks, what can I do to not feel this way
yeah. So
or
this
to
is
deal with this?
well, your topic has the answer for it, right? While
Yes, ma'am.
you cannot meet physically, that's where we
Yes,
are
ma'am.
talking about the virtual meetings and virtual interactions, isn't it? See,
Yes, ma'am.
friends are always available at a phone call distance, right?
Yes, ma'am.
If we cannot see them actually through a WhatsApp call or some other call, a video call or whatever, we can at least hear them. And discussions over phone with or discussion over chats over here, I mean on screen, these can be helpful. And with necessary care, probably expanding ourselves a little with necessary care and safety precautions, expanding ourselves a little more, like, with all precautions, if we can briefly meet together, which we have to be very careful in planning. However, I cannot go around telling, come on, go meet and talk to each other. That's not possible, not always. So probably virtual platform is the best platform, either by phone or the systems that we use. World
Yes.
is always at the end of our fingertips, and which part of the world we choose is, as I always told you, Mahima and your friends, is our choice. Which part of the world are we going to choose? Are we going to choose a world which is going to be beneficial to us and the others, and makes us expand, grow, develop? Or are we going to limit ourselves to one part of the world which immerses, which pulls us into it, like a loose soil, like entering it into a loose soil, ubi antam kada Telugulo. So, are we going to choose that particular part of the world where no one is allowed entry, where no one is going to be with us? We choose not to be with others and yet complain that no one is with us. So the choice is again ours. Which part of the world? The world is in front of us. Yes, it's there at the end of with a click of your mouse. You can, or with a phone call, or with a click over here. Yes, but the choice is again ours as to what is the part of the world that we are going to enter into. I repeat, when we share and care for each other. So when we care, we definitely share, and when we share, we show that we care for each other. So together, what we can deal with, loneliness may not help in dealing with it. Being
So
alone.
so true, ma'am. So true, ma'am. Ma'am, one question is there because you are saying of lifestyle management when say lunch and taking things on time. So there were few audience who says we work in night shifts. So what kind of mechanism should we follow? Any suggestions on that?
Yes, yes, yes. Circadian rhythms, biological clock, all these we talk. However, it depends upon how we regulate our body system accordingly, isn't it? When you have to work in the night shifts, your body also gets habituated to it. We condition ourselves to working at a particular schedule, isn't it? So accordingly, even our eat sleep schedules have to be compensated, isn't it? Just because I said you sleep the whole day, that is, I'm talking about any general person, But then when I have to work in the night, like, there are people right now. There are two types of environments. One is the workforce where you have night shifts and all. The other is the online classes where the students are elsewhere and their classes are elsewhere, and they have to adjust to the timings accordingly. So accordingly, their schedules also have to be reframed and restructured, right? So that does not mean you are awake the whole day, yet you have to work the whole night and feel sorry for self. Look, I didn't have
So
sleep.
true.
You're only going to complain then. And what about your eat schedules? Even that, I think we have to um, accordingly adjust.
Yes, ma'am. There's one question by an advocate here. So he started using only after started using cell phone, his eyes got affected. So when using affected, he usually forgets to breathe. Also, I think many will like not only I think food. I think for me it's like I even forget to have food and lunch and all. So any suggestions or things you want for mobile phones accordingly?
Yes, 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 sir. So if that is the case, if it is affecting your eyesight and even your process of breathing and all, I don't know. I'm not a medical person to tell you about how your breathing has got affected because of mobile phone. Nevertheless, considering that you have written that, probably mobile phone usage, how much it is required can be limited. I mean, as per your requirement, maybe it can be limited, and also certain of the features that we have in the mobile phone help us to connect it to a larger screen and look at it. Like, for example, if you have to chat with someone, you can connect it to your larger screen, your laptop or your screen, and you can read on your screen. That is one way of looking at it. Then if you have to type only on your mobile, you can increase your font size so that it doesn't strain. And in addition to that, thinking that without using mobile it is impossible is where we are psychologically showing that that we are not able to have a control over ourselves. There are things which we do with the help of mobile phone, but there may also be things which we can do without mobile phone. Is it so necessary that we have to use only mobile phone 24 by 7 such that it affects our eyesight? And coming to the breathing, if you have a regulation over your own breathing, and if you do your regulatory practices, like breathing exercise and all, how it is going to help you, I think you will have to try it out, right? So
Question, ma'am. It is last question, ma'am. We won't take go beyond this. So, any tips you want to share between selfies, isolation, and the real world?
so I mean, there are certain extremes that we are talking about. Selfie, yes, there is what is called, I mean, in a very sarcastic way, people talk about this selfie mania with respect to so many people. It's a very sarcastic word which is used by many, especially youngsters. Well, loving oneself is not wrong, but then when you love yourself so much that you are engrossed in that self love, that is where the whole problem is. Sometimes, being engrossed in your own looks or how you look and why you should look better, and comparing and all, may become problematic with your for your own self, for the sake of your own self. So selfie, yes, if one a person is so engrossed within, about about the own self and is not bothered about the others, then yes, there is a possibility that you isolate yourself, and in the process, because you are so engrossed with yourself, the others may also isolate you. So it is not just a selfish. Selfish is one particular aspect of demonstrating that that you are engrossed with self. It can be more than that as well, right? So yes, isolation, it is up to, this is where I have been talking about self regulation and boundaries. I always talk about these boundaries to any activity, in terms of thoughts, in terms of feelings, in terms of your emotions, in terms of your expression, in terms of your experience, in terms of behavior. In all these, when we are cognizant, when our cognitive faculties help us with what is happening as of now, we are mindful of what is happening within us, then I don't think we will go into so many problems if we are cognizant with what is happening. So probably a little bit of looking into self as to what is happening with me within internally, and in the process how it is manifest externally. That I think ఆ సమన్వయం ఏదైతే ఉందో, that synchronization, if you can integrate it well, I think that is where
Yes,
it
yes, ma'am.
will
I
look
think
at.
one of the participants is also answering that digital detox is to be practiced, as you said, ma'am. I think in your session it's there, a digital detox session. Nowadays you see a lot of detox, now pads, they use something detoxing of that. So I think this digital detox is a new trend which should come in near future.
Intoxication, intensification of whatever we want to do is in our hands. If you want to get intoxicated, you want to go into intensities of using only the screen and not only virtual world and not real world, then the choice is ours. So it is up to us to detox, to detoxify.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was very insightful. I think all the participants today had a very, very good weekend. This is a festival season. I think this, whatever tips you shared, I think this is the right time for them to start, because 2 days are holidays only. Anyways, Dasara is one of the biggest festival which we celebrate here in South India and also in North India. It's all India festival, which is one of the all India festivals which we celebrate. I think this is a great time to start if you have been in these 6 months of whatever the words you call it, a jail or whatever the big words you mention it. So it is the right time to start new things, experiment out, take out tips which ma'am has shared with you, explore stuff, celebrate it as a new way to celebrate the festival. Think out of opportunities or ways how you can inevitably celebrate this festival. Talk to your family members a lot, and this mental health is a new trend, which is not a new trend, I can say. It's actually very old thing only, but it was not that much there in past, I feel. So in this digital era, this has been growing a lot, because people have shifted from human to human talk to the human to device talk, I believe that. So just it's again an opportunity so that you balance. It's not that human mobile or human gadget talk is increasing, or like you should have a balance between human to human talk and human to a gadget talk. So I think this is the right time for you to start. And so once again, ma'am, thank you so much for joining. Again, I thank Mahima also for thanking a lot, coordinating this session and spreading this amazing session with you all today. Also at 5:30 p.m. we are having a talk for the viewers. We are having a talk on fake news identification, or whatever. Suppose you are getting some news anywhere, how to identify whether it is a true or a fake one. So we are having a talk by Nilay Mistry sir, who is faculty at Gujarat Forensic Science University. So stay tuned, we will back soon again. Thank you so much everyone, have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Pleasure, ma'am.